Hi, this is Christy with Living Well Nutrition, and today we're going to talk about inflammation and low inflammatory diets. So thanks for coming back to Living Well Nutrition. I'm glad that you're here today. We're going to talk about inflammation. Now, inflammation drives disease, and you can be experiencing chronic inflammation and not even know it. And it's really important that you follow an anti-inflammatory diet before you get a diagnosis of a chronic disease condition. So let's talk about some of the basics of anti-inflammatory diet. First of all, there's just one enzyme that really helps break down and reorganize the fats that you eat in your diet. And that enzyme will shunt or help break down omega-3s and omega-6s. The standard American diet is very high in omega-6 fats. In fact, the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is about 20-1 in the standard American diet. We really want to aim for 3-1. So we really need a pretty big shift in our diet. So what does that look like? First of all, omega-6 fats are the inflammatory fats, typically, and then omega-3 fats are typically your anti-inflammatory. Now, when we say omega-6 fats are inflammatory, we're really looking at a couple of different sources of omega-6 fats. One is the vegetable oils that you buy at the grocery store. Typical grocery store shelf, like a King Soopers, Kroger, Safeway, that kind of a store, is going to have a plethora of oils that you can choose from, like canola oil or corn oil, safflower oil. Those oils have been processed at high heat with strong chemicals. They are actually rancid, and so they've been bleached so that you can't smell the rancidity. Those are very inflammatory omega-6 oils, and they need to be completely eliminated from your diet. There is also an omega-6 that works as a low inflammatory, and that's a good thing. And that would be GLA. That's the name of the fat, GLA, and that can be evening primrose or borage or borage, depending on what part of the country you live in. They are pronounced differently. But those are good oils, and those are things that you can supplement with your diet. You can also find healthy omega-6 oils in raw nuts and in just vegetables. Eating fresh vegetables will have healthy omega-6 oils in them. And then the third, and I would think the most important oil for you to make sure the fat to include in your diet, is the anti-inflammatory omega-3 fats. And you're going to get that from cold water fatty fish. And of course, the most popular one is salmon. You can also get it from mackerel, and even cod will provide you with some low inflammatory omega-3 fats. And so I would encourage you to eat salmon multiple times a week, even canned salmon, wild-caught canned salmon. Make sure you do get wild-caught salmon. There is a difference between wild-caught and farmed salmon. Wild-caught salmon is going to have a higher nutrient availability and a better fat profile. Farmed salmon does not have as the healthy omega-3 profile that wild-caught salmon has. Now, for those of you who are big beef lovers, obviously conventionally fed corn-fed beef is very high in omega-6, and it's very inflammatory. However, if you want your beef and you want to follow a low inflammatory diet, you have options. You can buy grass-fed beef. Not just grass-fed, but grass-finished. And it's very key that you ask your butcher about grass-finished, because all cows eat grass, right? And so you want to make sure that the cow that you are eating, the beef that you are eating, has never been fed corn or grain. You want a cow that's strictly been fed on pasture or been fed hay. Hay is just simply cut and dried grass, and it's good, and it's going to provide a good healthy fat profile for your cow. Now, if you decide to go buy your own grass-fed and finished cow, I encourage you to do that. If you need help finding a rancher, please call me. I've got lots and lots of contacts, and I can help you do that as well. If you're here in northern Colorado, I can hook you up with the rancher I bought my cow from. But generally, if you decide you're going to buy a cow, you need to go look at the cow before you buy it. And what you're going to look for is a cow with a nice wide jaw, nice wide chest, short stubby legs, and a cow that's going to fatten on that grass without being fed corn. So As you move from the inflammatory, the standard American inflammatory diet into an anti-inflammatory diet, you want to eat more cold water fish. You want to get rid of the processed vegetable oils that we find on the grocery store shelves. And you want to make sure you eat grass-fed and finished beef. Now, in terms of oils, what do you cook with? What do you use if you can't buy the vegetable oils off the store shelves? There are several oils that are good. And the first one I would encourage you to try is coconut oil. It's good for heat cooking and for baking. I would also encourage you to use avocado oil. Avocado oil can be used for a little bit higher heat. And so if you want to do a stir fry, that's a great one. You can also use a very stable, and coconut oil is very stable. That's what we call saturated fat. Lard is also saturated fat, and I'm not talking bacon grease. I'm talking lard that you would buy at an ethnic grocery store and you would render at home. That's very stable and good for high heat cooking. If you're going to use very low heat, you can use a little bit of olive oil or mix olive oil with butter or mix it with avocado oil. But you do not want to be using heat with olive oil. It's more fragile, it's not as saturated, and heat can damage that olive oil, and you don't want to do that. Use olive oil to dress your salads and to dress your cooked vegetables. All right, well, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that you are well on your way to a low or anti-inflammatory diet, and this is Christy, to your health. You gotta cut it out, you gotta stop it.